a sentient creature alive in that distant age. It will protect the house. The house will survive. It has its defenses and its guardians. Joe left for Europe on Friday the 13th. He didn't have to. He picked that date deliberately. Joe likes to throw rocks at the goddess of fortune. That's why I remember the date. On Thursday, the 12th, I was in my inconveniently tiny kitchen, mincing and chopping and braising and doing a lot of other things that don't ordinarily constitute my preparations for a meal. I shouldn't have been cooking. I should have been correcting final exams. Some of my unfortunate students were pacing the halls outside my office, wondering, with good reason, whether or not they'd passed. To delay their knowledge of their fate for even a day was sheer sadism. I knew that, because I wasn't too far away from my own student days. I was also, as Joe frequently pointed out, a simple, sentimental schnook. Why should I feel pangs of conscience about the lazy slobs who hadn't bothered to finish papers or study for exams? I did have pangs of conscience, but I fought them down and went on mincing, braising, and so on. This was Joe's farewell dinner, and it had to be special. Joe had suggested we go out, with me paying. Well, that was fair enough. It was his farewell dinner. We didn't eat out much. We were both paying off educational loans, and our combined salaries were less than that of a marginally competent insurance salesman. My reason for vetoing the suggestion was not because I grudged spending the money. My argument ran along these lines. You'll be tired. You'll have 100 last-minute chores to finish. You won't feel like getting dressed up, and wait till you see how well I can cook, when I put my mind to it. That last was the real reason, though I didn't recognize it then. Look at me, I can do anything. Won't you miss me when I'm not around? We'd been together for about 6 months. They'd been good months. Even the fights were entertaining. There were a lot of fights, because Joe was an unreformed male chauvinist, and he kept stepping on my tender feminist toes. Rationally, he had to agree with my insistence that we share the domestic chores. My academic load was as heavy as his. My prospects were as good. There was no reason why he should expect to march into the apartment every evening, throw himself into a chair, and ask, "What's for dinner?" There was no reason why he should assume I would pick up his socks and do his laundry. The first time he asked what was for dinner, I handed him a pound of raw hamburger and said, "That's for dinner. Let me know when it's ready." I never really won the laundry issue. After a while, it seemed simpler to scoop up all the dirty clothes when I went to the laundromat. It's amazing how many little problems come up when people live together, in wedlock or out of it. Things you never think about in the raptures of first love. Things so trivial they shouldn't matter. We fought about how often to clean the apartment, and who would clean it. We fought about scrubbing toilets, and about how much beer can legitimately occupy shelf space in the refrigerator, to the exclusion of less entertaining staples. We fought about our friends, and whether or not to lie to our families about our relationship. And, of course, we fought about whether we should get married. Sometimes he favored the idea. Sometimes I did. But we never agreed. Strange as it may seem, it was fun at the time. Joe had a quick temper and the sensitivity of a slug, but he never sulked. Our fights ended in laughter, after one or the other of us had recognized the basic absurdity of the issue, or in a loving and tempestuous reconciliation. That was Joe's strong point, tempestuous reconciliations. He made love with a blend of tenderness and toughness that swept me off my size 9 sneakers. His worst fault, or so it seemed to me then, was his complete lack of interest in anything but science. Music bored him. The visual arts were just ways of filling up empty spaces. He couldn't see any real difference between Raphael and Norman Rockwell. And as for my field, he told